This video is brought to you by my generous backers over on Patreon. If you'd like to support the channel and get cool perks like access to the Discord, seeing the videos a week before anyone else, or an entire video dedication, then feel free to check out my Patreon. The link's in the description below. This video is dedicated to James Humphreys. James, thank you. Alright, going to try another round of 1v1 games, this time Chainer Nightmare Adept versus Azami Lady of Scrolls. We are keeping that thanks to the fast mana. We'll just lay down, what do we lay down? Let's get into a mountain. And then we're going for the Sol Ring, and I don't think we're gonna... do we want to cycle the Canyon Slough? Oh, another Sol Ring, alright, so yeah, might want to cycle that now and try and get into something else. Alright, just clearing another land off the top, so I don't mind that one bit. Let's attempt to get down our commander. While there's hopefully no blue mana held up. Then lay down some commander damage on our opponent. This didn't enter from our hand, so it gives itself haste. And it'll obviously give all of our other creatures haste that enter from the graveyard. Now a Reliquary Tower from our opponent, so struggling on blue mana so far. And it is a Time Stream Navigator, followed by Sorcerer's Wand. Okay, Kakusho we can get out next turn. Yeah, why don't we just get down Mind Slicer as a means to... Yeah, we'll get down Mind Slicer as a means to pile on some damage. So we discard Mind Slicer. Then we can cast a creature spell from our graveyard this turn. Only one to choose from, and that is what we just discarded. And now this will come in with haste. And I highly doubt our opponent wants to block it. Now it might be that our opponent just straight up equips this and deals 2 damage to our Chainer. But at the end of the day, if they're doing that, then they're not doing anything else too frightening, are they? Yep, just waiting until they get into some more blue mana, so looks like they're going to get rid of our Chainer as best they can. A Meteor Golem now. We are 2, 4, 6. We can do that next turn. I think I'm going to go in for Kakusho now. Let's swing him first and try and encourage them to do this 2 damage thing. You never know, they might take the damage from Chainer first because they're worried about what else we might play. Okay, going for the block. And then they should tap it in response to get rid of the Chainer. Oh no, coming in at us, so maybe this can't... Target player... Oh, Planeswalker, excuse me, so they can't actually do it at creatures. Never seen that card before. Didn't read it properly. So getting rid of their wizard. So how about we just read the bones instead then? Not as worried about this thing anymore. Alright, Damnation and Bedevil. We can't cast either of those. Yeah, I think we could get rid of Sol Ring with Bedevil, but our opponent's just going to scoop if we do that. So let's hold on to Damnation as an insurance thing. Oh, we're buried alive. We can go for this turn. That is perfectly on curve. So we'll go Squee to get that back to our hand every turn. We can go Lightning Skelemental. Don't want to go in for a combo or anything like that. And then we'll just grab ourselves a Shriekmaw as well. Like I said, don't want to go in for any kind of combo because our opponent's struggling on mana here. Still 1 blue mana away from their Azami. Now it is Daring Apprentice. Tap, sack, counter a target spell. And we are going to get Squee back into our hand. And it's a Talisman, so do we want to get rid of this with the Meteor Golem? No, I think I'm actually just going to go for Kakusho here. Kakusho with haste sounds good. So we'll have to shock in the Blood Crypt discard Kakusho, then play Kakusho. Just trying to pile on as much damage as possible. We've always got Shriekmaw to fall back on if we want to get rid of this thing, definitely. Just deciding to block with the Daring Apprentice, so I'm glad I went for Kakusho now, because we don't have to worry about blowing up that thing with Shriekmaw if they were always going to block with it. There we go, finally getting into Azami mana. It might be too late for them though. Yeah, don't even try and draw into another card. What were we getting into next turn? Just another land for us. So if we were just going wide on them next turn, that is 5, 9. Oh yeah, so we just swing in at them next turn near enough. We can discard a card, get rid of their commander with Shriekmaw, or just trample straight through with Lightning Skelemental. So yeah, I think it's justified that our opponent scooped up there. Pretty uneventful one, so let's try again. Chain of Nightmare Adept versus Morophon the Boundless with a Sol Ring in hand. We are keeping that. I think that's the second time in a row with Chainer we've had Sol Ring. So let's go Badlands into the Sol Ring. Just a tap land from our opponent. I think I've played against this opponent's Morophon deck before, and I think it's Sliver Tribal. We'll have to see if my memory serves me well there. Let's shock in the Blood Crypt. And then we can just go in for Chainer and get 3 points of damage on our opponent. Yep, looks like I remember correctly. They get down Predatory Sliver, a Sliver Lord. Alright, well, there's nothing for us to do there, so why don't we go for the Lightning Greaves? And we can just hold up Entomb, I think. I think that's alright. Hibernation Sliver, that's going to be tough. I was just thinking about going in for the Ravenous Chupacabra. At least they have to pay 2 life into it, so we're dealing some damage to them. We'll still get blockers out of the way. And it kind of messes up their turn and their tempo. Yeah, we'll still go for it, I think. Put Ravenous Chupacabra in the bin. Oh, and there we go. We've got a combo in Zealous Conscripts and Kiki-Jiki. We just need to get into the mana for it now. Let's discard a card. We will get rid of the Big Game Hunter. And unfortunately can't afford the Madness cost on it. Then that will allow us to cast the Chupacabra, so we'll go for that now. And try and get rid of this Lord, at least get it out of play. And our opponent pays the 2 life to get it back into their hand. And now we go in at our opponent with the Ravenous Chupacabra, and they are more than welcome to block that if they want, because it means we'll just be able to recast it next turn, but they decide not to. So next turn, if we get into a 3rd red mana, we can go Kiki-Jiki onto that. Or we can sacrifice it with Sidisi. All relies on us getting into more mana though. Bone Scythe Sliver, probably one of the best slivers that you can get. So they may swing in here. Might be time to hold back the Chupacabra. Alright, that's another land for us at least. It is not a red source though, which I would have liked. So I think we just go in for the tutor here. And I think I'll just get myself a red source with Sidisi. Sacrifice the Chupacabra, ready for casting next turn maybe. We'll just go for a mountain and put that onto Sidisi, and then they can swing into a Death Toucher if they want to. Now it is the Clot Sliver. They can regenerate theirs for 2 generic mana if they want to. Gonna have to hold up a lot of mana to do that. The Hibernation Sliver is much more of a thorn in our side. And deciding not to swing into the Death Toucher. So we've got some time now. Do we just want to get rid of the Bone Scythe Sliver? Discard Bedevil to do that. Yeah, and then we can set up for Kiki-Jiki onto the Ravenous Chupacabra next turn. So let's go discard on Bedevil. And in for Chupacabra. And we'll make them recast their Bone Scythe Sliver. Oh, of course, they don't need to recast because they've got the regenerate, so just going for that instead. We're still going to hold back a Death Toucher, so don't really mind that. We wanted it in play for the Kiki-Jiki next turn. And then whilst their eye is drawn onto Kiki-Jiki and Ravenous Chupacabra, it might be the black creature that they go for removal onto, because otherwise we don't have a good target for our goblins. So then that might open up the way for Zealous Conscripts and a combo. As long as we can hold them down, we should be able to do it. Now that Predatory Sliver comes back down again. They've still got mana held up for the regeneration. And they could swing in with the Bonescythe Sliver because we're probably just going to block with Sidisi, but they decide not to. They could have regenerated it and tried to get rid of our black creature. We don't want to discard anything, so we're just going straight in for Kiki-Jiki. Cathartic Reunion could be useful. Well, if we have more cards in hand, it would be. Let's just go in for the Kiki. We can play it straight from the hand because it has haste already. And then we'll try and put the Greaves on that, ready for the combo next turn. They might have spot removal in hand. Alright, and then instead of going for the Kiki activation now, we'll go for it on their turn so they've got less mana if they want to go for the regenerate. Alright, now they can sacrifice stuff if they want to. But they'll need 3 mana to do it. And again, deciding not to swing in, we're holding them back very nicely. So let's force them into regenerating that Bonescythe Sliver. In fact, I'd rather go after Necrotic Sliver at this point, to be honest. They crack a land in response, ready for regenerating. And there we go, forcing them to tap out of mana, so now we're setting ourselves up for the combo. We will go in for Polluted Delta onto another red source. Then we need to be able to target with this, don't we? Yeah, I said Lightning Greaves ready for the combo next turn, but that would actually not allow us to go for the combo, thanks to Kiki-Jiki not being able to be targeted by the Zealous Conscripts. So let's try again. And our opponent sees it, they obviously know the combo. For any of you that don't, all we do there is go Zealous Conscripts into play. In response to the trigger, Kiki-Jiki will make a copy of it, and Zealous Conscript's trigger will point itself at Kiki-Jiki. We'll gain control of our own creature, but the key feature is that we untap it. So then with every token version of Zealous Conscripts that comes into play, each one of them untaps Kiki-Jiki and allows us to make another Zealous Conscript, and we can just make infinite versions of this creature. They all have haste printed on them already, so it's infinite 3/3s. We go wide on our opponent and managed to get off the victory. So a couple of decent games there. Had a lot of trouble with Queen Marquesa before this, but Chainer was an easier one for people to play against by the looks of it. So hopefully you all enjoyed this video and this return to 1 vs 1. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.